Gary Cannalte joining us now beyond the barometer with when we first hit and last hits, 90s, 80s, 70s.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it's a good thing to look at this time of year because, you know, people, you remember a couple of weeks ago, you know, we were in the 80s, almost at 90, and people were saying, oh, is it the last time for the season?
Right.
And then we almost did it again this year. So let's take a look at, for Madison, with our Beyond the Barometer segment for today. So taking a look at our first and last 90-degree temperatures on average, normally, we hit our first 90 on the 16th of June. This year, we're a little early, on the 31st of May. Our last 90-degree day, usually on the 24th of August. This year, a little bit later, on the 4th of September. We've been as high as 90 as early as the 22nd of April back in 1980. And in 1975, our last 90-degree day was on the 13th of October. So you can see the other two things here. In 1998, our first 90-degree day temperature was on September 13th. And in 2009, our last 90-degree temperature was on the 25th of June. And I also should point out, in 2004, we didn't hit 90 at all here in Madison. Now,
that was a good year.
Yeah, so if you look at 80-degree temperatures, the earliest was back in that warm March of 2012. We hit 80 on the 15th of March. We've been as high as 80 as late as the 29th of October. So it's still been as warm as 80 this late in the season. But you can see the average first date of our first 80-degree temperature on the 27th of April. This year it was on the 12th. Normally, our last 80-degree temperature on the 29th of September. This year it was on the 3rd of October. And we've had our first 80-degree temperature as late as June 24th, and the last one for the season as early as August 18th. For 70-degree temperatures, we've hit 70 as early as March 3rd. We've seen 70 as late as November 19th. The average is the 5th. This year, a little bit later than average. The 10th of April is our first 70-degree temperature. And our last 70-degree temperature, most likely for the season, was on the 24th. And that was just about right on schedule. But you can see we haven't hit 70 as late as May 18th back in 1875. And in 1896, our last 70-degree temperature was in mid-September, so that was a chilly fall. And as far as 60-degree temperatures, we've hit 60 as early as January 26th. Our last 60-degree temperature, the latest, in 1984, after Christmas, we still hit 60, and the average is the 19th of March. You can see this year, the 31st, a little bit later. We don't know if we've hit our last 60-degree temperature for the season, but you can see we've been right on schedule, but at least for the 80s and 90s, they have been trending earlier in the season and late in the season as climate change continues.
So maybe a 60s yet.
Yeah, it's still a possibility for a 60, but not in the next 10 days.
No,
I'll tell you that.
yeah.
All right, Gary. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you.